and we can finally start our session about monitoring. So I have presented a small and short presentation about monitoring and about the experiences of the project Life at Gestire 2020, as I have followed it. I study insects, dragonflies, butterflies, and so all these are the examples I'm going to provide to you come from this world. So before starting my presentation, I would like to give you a definition of monitoring, because to me it is very important to understand what it is. So many people actually use that word, monitoring, even if maybe that word is used in a different way. I have been using this definition since 2013, taken from the Encyclopedia of Biodiversity, and monitoring means the repeated collection and analysis of observations and measurements to evaluate changes in populations of species and environmental conditions. Of course, then if you want, we can discuss about it, but to me, monitoring must be repeated, otherwise it cannot be considered as monitoring. It's important to use the same method and also to monitor the same population. Otherwise, I cannot know what I am monitoring if I do not use the same method and the same population. Of course, in that way, I can then assess the changements entailing in different populations. For example, here we've got some guidelines for the monitoring of Lucanus cervus. So the guidelines published and already implemented. These guidelines have already been tested, and when possible, it's better to use applied and published methods. So now I'm going to start talking to you about the Life Gestire 2020. I work in Action D3, that is called the Innovative Approach for the Implementation of the Monitoring Program Form Gestire. And this program is called the Scientific Monitoring Program of the Natura Network in Lombardy to evaluate the conservation status of habitats and species present in Lombardy. So this action is addressed especially to Action D3 and Rete Natura Habitat and Natura 2000. It follows an innovative approach that involves the resources that we can find in the territory. But how? By involving the technical staff working in the Natura 2000 network and collaborating with that part of society which is sensitive to the issues of biodiversity conservation. That's why it is so innovative. So involve people, associations that are already existing, that are already present. The final part of monitoring, well, we've got contracts with experts with specific technical expertise for the monitoring of species and habitats. I've called that part Territorial Network 1. Why? Well, because it involves many different volunteers. This list is pretty long, but it's simply to let you see that many people actually work with us. So there are so many bodies, so many municipalities that have lent their staff to do this monitoring work. We've got, for example, Parco Groane, we've got the municipality of Milan, and so far and so on. So, of course, thank you very much to all these people that have spent their time to do these works. So what we have monitored the Lucanus service, the stag beetle, in the Lombardy region. So we monitored 10 sites with always following the protocol that I showed you before. And these 10 sites can be found on the map. They are indicated by the brown triangles. So this stuff monitored during night, especially in June and July, and they monitored these 10 sites. Then Territory Network 2, the name of this slide, agreements with the region Lombardy, the Lombardy region. There are some associations and societies that have actually signed an agreement with the Lombardy region to share their data. These societies are already working in Lombardy. They can be also national or regional associations working in Lombardy. The first one is UNPEM, Fishermen, National Fishermen Union. We've got a lot of fishermen, entomologists, ornithologists that have actually signed that agreement and have shared their data with the Lombardy region. This is part of the innovative approach, so sharing and finding some activities that have already been implemented and are still going on in Lombardy. Then we've got another kind of monitoring about the Osmoderma eremita. It is a pretty big bug, but it's not easy to find. And this kind of monitoring was given to some experts. Of course, there are some species that maybe some volunteers do not want to focus on. And then another approach that has become more and more famous, that has caught on, is called citizen science. So what does it mean? It means involving population, citizens during the biodiversity monitoring activities. The Lombardy region has its own tool called Biodiversity Region Lombardy, Biodiversità Regione Lombardia, that has some different campaigns about reptiles, amphibians, and all the data has been collected thanks to this app. Then the Lombardy region also works with another project called INNAT. INNAT is present in all Italy, everywhere in Italy. And our region, so the Lombardy, advertises this app, and in that way it can receive the data. Going back to the stag beetle, here we have the data collected from 2017-2022. So as you can see, we've got a high density of stag beetles, but more or less in every part of our region, the stag beetle can be found. I think it has been a very important success because we have added quite a lot of information about the distribution pattern of these species. Here you can see a curve that shows how data has changed throughout the years in the Lombardy region. So since 2018, from 2018 to 2022. Then, of course, COVID arrived in 2020. Our advertisement was not as efficient as it was before, not only on a regional level, but also on a national level. And in 2022, we didn't begin with the same intensity. So as you can see here, we have seen a sort of decrease of quantity of data. So INNET does not only collect data, but it's important to advertise it, to advertise this project, otherwise it is bound to fail. So that's more or less the end of my presentation. So to me, it's very important to highlight some aspects. So what has been done in the framework of Gestire 2020 was to fill some gaps about what we knew in the past, especially in what I like to call minor fauna, small fauna. So it's a branch where we do not have much data about animals and their distributions. So we've got some single reporting, we've got some monitoring by experts, we've got territory network, and also all the data scientific publications, collocations, the data coming from museum. So I've chosen this image of a jigsaw where every piece is not does not stick to the other. So the idea is to combine all of them. We need to use the data in order to describe how things are going. And of course, then of course, if you want, we can discuss about it. And we can discuss about the Alpine Arch, sorry. I also deal with butterflies. Butterflies are much monitored, especially by specialists and experts. An important group is iNaturalist that collects data of all the Alpine Arch. We've got another project like Tagfater Monitoring, or another one, EBMS, with some experts are involved. They collect some data about standard insects. Then we've got some publications about the Pyrgus malvoides in Slovenia. And we've got some monitoring about alien species. Here we've got a publication of ISPRA about how to monitor single species. So the idea, and sorry, the question is once again, how can we combine and merge this high quantity of data? And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.